Mr. Brooks. I'm back. I hope you enjoyed spring break. Now we get to finish the rest of this school year working from home as a student and as a teacher. So let's talk about the collections assignment, also known as the cards assignment. Well, to find out what you're supposed to do, come to the class website, brooksprogramming.weebly.com, and scroll down to the collections assignment area. You're going to look at assignment 5, the card game. Now, if you haven't already, you should be looking at this, the introduction to collections. This video gives you an idea of what collections are all about, and hopefully will help assist you in completing the assignment, the worksheet and the assignment. You can also download presentations here that will help, and we'll be doing videos on those later. So the card game assignment looks like this. When you download the PDF, and it's going to look like this. It's a very simple card game that you're displaying one of 20 cards, one at a time, and you're asking the player, do you think the next card will be higher or lower? And so if you see a 13, you're probably going to say the next one's probably lower, and so you click lower. If you get it right, you get a point, and it tells you correct. If you get it wrong, you don't get a point, and it says incorrect or loser or something like that. Being that you're going to want to know how this looks, let's take a look at it real quick here. This is the higher or lower card game. Notice it says I'm on card 1 of 20, but in your array, your collection is actually on card 0 of 20 cards. It's going to go from 0 through 19 in your array, but when you display it here on screen, you're going to say 1 through 20. There's a little trick there that you'll want to watch out for. So I haven't scored anything yet. The first card is a 5. I'm guessing that the next card is going to be higher. I was wrong. It said incorrect, and my score didn't change. I'm going to say higher again. It was an 11. That is correct, and I got a point. And so I can just kind of hit these until I get to the very end, the last card. So this is the last card I get to guess on, because the last card, the 20th card, I don't get to guess on because there's no next card after that. So right now it's 15. I'm guessing the next one is lower. I was correct. It told me I was correct. It gave me the point, and somewhere on the screen it said game over. In this case, we have game over in a separate text block than this text block. Usually I just use this text block so that they're all the same. That should give you a little bit of an idea. Let's start creating the project. So I'm doing a WPF app, C#, .NET Framework. That's the type of app I want to create. And now I need to say where I'm going to create it. So I'm going to put it on my thumb drive in my programming class folder. I'm going to call this the Collections Card Game. You can call it something useful. Remember, do not use punctuation or spaces in your project name. I see many of you doing that. Somewhere along the way, Visual Studio is going to mess up with you, and I won't be there. You'll have to restart your project. There are some things we can do to repair it, but don't put spaces, don't put punctuation in your project name. Everything else I've already had before. Place the solution of the project in the same directory and just leave the framework the same old thing there. So I hit create. There, our project is finally coming up. It might go quick on your machine, it might go slow. I clipped out the long part for you so you don't have to wade through that on your video. So this is the base project. Don't move any of the files in here. Don't rename any of the files in here. Again, if you mess up your project, I can't be there to fix it for you. So let me make this a little bit bigger for you to be able to see. This is my layout window where I'm going to put my controls. Now, if you remember, let's go back and bring this guy back up. I want a text block, text block, text block, text block. What is this, Mr. Brooks? Button, text block, button. So let's get started. I'm going to kind of move pretty quick. I know you can go through this in slow motion. I need a few text blocks on the screen. So I'm going to just throw a bunch of text blocks on the screen to start with. Remember, they're text blocks, not text boxes. Okay, this is the one that's going to display which card number I'm on. I want to make sure it's big enough to display all that text. And I'm going to give it a name, TB card num. So that's going to say you're on card 1 of 20 or something like that. There's the text that appears above the buttons that says something along the lines of it's the instructions. I'm going to call it TB instructions. And by default, I'm going to say, guess higher or lower. Or lower. Now there's some text block that I need to have up here for the score. Again, I need to make it big enough to display everything. If you don't see all the text, come back and look. TB score. This is my text block for the score. And remember the one where there's the text block that tells you if you got it correct or not. So again, I'm making it big enough. I'm going to call that the answer. Now I need one more. I need a couple buttons. And you could put the word higher, or you could put or in between them. You don't have to. So this one I want to be my button for guessing higher. And I'm in the content, I'm going to say higher. And this is the button for guessing lower, BTN lower. And I'm going to say this is where you guess lower. Okay, so this is, I'm going to just put some card number 0 of 100. That's not true. I'm just making sure that it has stuff there. This one, I'm going to say your score is unknown. This is just text to begin with, right? And this is the answer. I put text in there so I can kind of get an idea. Now there's that one piece right here. I need a text block. So this is not required, but I'm going to put it on there anyway to make it look good. This is saying top card. Notice I'm not giving this one a name. Why am I not giving it a name? Because I'm never going to change it. And so if you're not going to change it, you don't need to give it a name, but it will still display and function. Now, the demonstration one here has this nice border here. It's called a border, and this is a text block inside the border. We haven't used borders up to this point, so I'm going to put in a pretty border here, and I can change the color of the border. I can change the width of its frame. Let's see, that's the brush. I can change the colors, margins, layout, appearance, corner radius, border thickness. So I could say I want, instead of just 1, I could say 5 across the board. If I wanted to give it kind of a pseudo 3D look, I'm just going to make it 5 all around. You can choose whatever you want. That's under appearance, and inside brush, I can change the border brush to be red. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Now you're saying, well, that's great. I got a border, but now I need to put a text block inside there. So the next thing I want to do, this is going to get a little tricky because the border is like a group box. I'm going to move it into a place where I can actually drop something in it. I'm going to put the text block right inside the border. So now you see how this text block is sized itself. And this is where I'm going to be displaying my card. So I'm going to say TB card. And to give me an idea of size and scale, I'm just going to put 0. 0 is an impossible number in this game. Notice how small that 0 is, and it's not centered in any way, shape, or form. So I want to center it inside the border box. So I can grab this border box now. And that's not what I wanted. I'm going to escape there. I need to move the border. So I'm going to click off of it. I'm going to see if I can click on the border. There, I got the border this time. And now I'm moving the border that has the text block inside of it. So inside is a text block inside my border. Now I want that font to be bigger. I want it to appear in the center. So remember, I come over to my text block and I type align. And here's an align for text alignment, so I'm going to say center. Well, that's great, Mr. Brooks. That put it in the middle, but I want to put it middle. Well, I'm going to fix that by doing something a little bit different. Instead of doing alignment stuff, I'm going to go to the text size now. Appearance. No. I know it's in here. Brush layout. Where do I change the font? I can't find the font, so I'm going to just type font. There it is. It's under text. Okay. I'm going to ratchet it up. 72. And that might not fit 2-digit numbers. Well, I can test that by coming back here and changing the 0 to a 00. And if both zeros fit, then I'm good. It's like, okay, that's not everything in the world that I wanted. I'm going to adjust the font size down just a little bit to 48. No. So I can type in a custom number. Let's go 60. Okay. Visually, that looks good. Now I'm looking at my window, and everything's really wide and spaced out. So I'm going to put the answer way over here. I'm going to take the score. I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to stretchy box those guys and move them over here. And then to resize my window, I click on the title bar up here, and I grab that guy and I pull him in. Now he's much taller than I need him to be. So there you go. That's the initial layout. I went through and gave things names as we went. This is card num. You can name them whatever you want. Just use the right Pascal case or the camel case, camel case. This one I gave a name because I'm going to change that to say game over when the game is over. My buttons, button higher, button lower. My text block inside the border TB card. I did not give my border a name, and down here is the answer. So that's the initial layout. After I do the initial layout, I need to wire my button clicks. Some people have been asking me, what do you mean wire the button clicks? Without the button selected, double click on a button, and it creates the code that wires this method to whenever the button is clicked. Now I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do the same thing on lower, double click him, and I get button lower click. So now I have my two button handlers for when the higher button is clicked and when the lower button is clicked. Just a tip as you go forward, this is the place where you're going to want to create the deck of cards, and then this is the place where you'll want to shuffle the deck. I'm going to stop here for now with this video. This gets you launched on starting your project for the card game for the collections assignment. I hope it's useful to you.